That could only mean one thing. The Schlechte family in the house here today.
More. There's added addition. This is bring your kid to work. Bring your kid to.
Well, we have all the kids here today.
Well, not all of them.
No.
We have my daughter Emily, who's in law school in Chicago.
Oh,
We have
wow.
a quarter of them.
Planning to follow in the giant footsteps of her noted father.
False. A third. So Emily's in the background. She wouldn't be on camera, so you can't even watch it and see how beautiful she is.
So she's going to be an attorney?
That's what she claims.
She's planning on
Well, she went to Purdue.
we should talk to her, but
She went to Purdue for undergrad, and then Roosevelt University for a master's in business.
ooh, that was an ugly football year.
And now,
Purdue.
and now she's in law school. So we figure after this will be medical school.
She likes school.
Yes.
She didn't like it in high school. She missed half her senior year. How she graduated, God only knows. Remember that, Emily?
I do remember it.
Where did she go to high school?
She's in Ann Arbor.
Huron High
Okay.
in Ann Arbor.
She's a river rat.
That's affirmative.
Yeah.
Look at her. I'm just kidding.
Oh my God.
Just kidding.
I'm leaving.
So you thought this was going to be fun?
Yeah. Wow, it was a roast.
Kind of a rip session here.
Yeah.
We don't get that opportunity often, so. I have some shout-outs. You ready? Do you have shout-outs?
Just to Paul and Roz Stevens in Yorkshire, because they don't tune in, but they watch the video after.
Oh,
the
so
fact.
they're one of the 2 people that actually watch it? Because it tells me how many views that
Oh,
are
does
on
it?
the
Yeah,
video.
right.
Yeah.
You know they're flooding into that. They just want to see those glasses.
That's right. That's exactly right. So here are my shout-outs, ready? Because I have quite a few. John Wilson. Ran into him on the streets right across from the medical marijuana protest. But they weren't protesting medical marijuana. They were protesting the closing of the dispensaries.
Yeah.
I need to make that clear. I don't know why I needed to make that clear, but I did. Gary Klump, long-time listener. Jeff Beagle.
First time call, long time listener.
First time shout out. No, first time
This is
shout
the
out.
Mr. Obvious show.
Yeah. The Bob and Tom. This would be the Laura and Bill and Greg
Right,
show.
there you go.
Never
Jeff
say
Beagle
never
really
say
worked.
Bob and Tom on this show.
Oh,
Yes, for
really?
sure,
I'm
yeah.
sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Charge you double.
Jeff Beagle really worked Emily and I out this morning.
Oh,
6:30. Russ and Patty
At
Higgins.
the Y?
Yeah. Yep.
Okay.
And then my
Oh,
cousin,
wait. Who did we miss?
Russ and Patty Higgins.
Great couple.
Aren't they fun?
The mayor of Kibbe Road.
Oh, really?
Russ Higgins.
I'll tell you what, and they're attractive. They're so. Look at Bill. And
They
then,
are longtime listeners.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, there you go. And then my cousin Mary Dwyer Rauschenberger passed away Friday. And so the funeral was yesterday. I got to tell you, I have some awesome cousins. And her husband, Joe Rauschenberger. So shout out to Joe. He's going through a tough time, but he'll get through it.
Hang in there, Joe.
Yep. Okay. What are we talking about? I have some questions.
It's your show. I'm just a guest.
I know. You're a continual guest. I was going to talk about, hold on a second, what was it? Like real estate and blending families. But I did have a couple questions this week. So let's do the questions, and if we have time afterwards, otherwise we'll do that next week. Is that okay?
You have questions for me?
Well,
or for Greg?
I had questions come into me, actually,
Oh,
this
questions to you. Okay.
Wow.
All right.
Okay.
So,
Of a real estate nature or a personal nature?
well, we'll just deal with the real estate ones on
All right,
the
very
show.
good. Okay.
Because I'm not sure you could answer my personal questions.
There's no doubt about that.
All right.
Politics?
So, politics. Oh, my God. I did have an email that someone said they listened to me. I'll give her a shout-out next week because I haven't had a chance to really read the email. So, anyhow, one of the questions was, how do you pick a realtor? And since you're not a realtor, why don't you tell me how you would pick one first? And then I'll tell you if you're right or wrong. Obviously, you would just call me, but
Right, since I'm
short of
married,
that.
since I'm married to one, I guess
That'd be
really
easy for you.
Yeah, my choices are rather limited. I might want to pick somebody else, but I'm not going to, simply as a matter of marriage
Although
royalties
based on the
and-
show last week when we were talking about divorce
Well, based
and
on
real
the
estate.
glasses that you have on, I might actually pick somebody else too. Seriously, anybody listening has to go to our website and look at these glasses because they are bizarre.
Yeah, go.
All right, so
Thinking real estate.
I'm gonna check that out today.
Okay.
See how they look on the internet.
Okay.
so all right. So, what was your question?
How do you pick a realtor? How would you pick a realtor?
Carefully.
That's it?
Well, that's where I would start.
You go to the
carefully.
yellow pages, what would you do?
Oh no.
No, not the yellow
No.
pages. What would you do? Ask for referrals from other people? Should I lead you guys down the path?
I'd look for somebody that was going to pay me a referral fee.
You can't get a referral
I'm just
fee.
kidding. I'm just
You have to
kidding.
have a real estate
If
license
I
to get a
personally-
Don't you mean a
referral fee.
kickback?
Yeah, sort of. Yeah.
Kickback.
If I was looking for a realtor and I wasn't married to you, what I would look at, first of all, I would talk to people that I know, who I trust, who have used a realtor in the past and get a recommendation. That's where I would start. So that now I've got some names. I would also look on the web, see who's got the most listings, who's got the most activity. I mean, all that data is available.
To me, it's all experience.
And then
That's the big one.
well,
So how long they've
well,
been
but wait
in
a
it?
second.
Yeah.
Or, okay.
No, I disagree. And
Oh, I love
actually,
this.
there's a debate going on one of the forums I belong to through the lawyers and talking about whether knowledge or experience is more important. And I've used this line in classes before, and that is there are people who have 20 years of experience, and there are people who have 1 year of experience 20 times. In other words, the first person is actually learning from what they're doing, and they've got 20 years of experience to be able to bring to the table. There are a lot of people who have been in a business, I don't care whether it's being a realtor or a lawyer or whatever it may be, who never learned from the past, and they're really not any better or much better than they were.
Bill,
initially.
that's in every field.
That's exactly right.
That's it.
Yep.
Lawyers.
Yeah,
I like
that's,
that.
yep, absolutely.
Right.
And so what I'm looking for is somebody who's got knowledge, who's got experience, who has learned from that experience, and can demonstrate to me then in a personal interview with them what it is that they are able to bring to the table.
Exactly, but would a starting point be experience?
Yeah. I'm not looking for a newbie in the business because we know that they just don't have that kind of experience. They don't have the ability to do what I want to do, which is unfortunate for the newbie. But if a newbie to the business, or a newbie to the business, ought to hook up with someone who's got experience to be able to tag along and find out what it is to be a good realtor.
So in other words,
And let me tell you the other thing, responsiveness. If I call my clients, they call me on my cell phone. I used to have, 2 layers of people between me and my clients. You'd have a receptionist who would take the phone call, and then the person would get routed to the secretary, and then finally get routed to me. No
That was
longer.
before the internet,
In this
though,
day,
right?
in this day and age, you call me direct on my cell phone, or you email me, or you text. And so I'm looking for somebody who is responsive. Good example, I'm dealing with a realtor on a very, very large residential property, expensive one in Ann Arbor, and this guy got back to me the same afternoon. And that's what I look for, is that willingness to communicate and respond. Because if they're not going to talk to me, if they're not going to get back to me, I have no use for them.
there you go. So you're going to interview, you're going to first get names from referrals and references, and then you're going to interview 2 or 3 people.
I'm going to investigate them on the web.
Right.
I'm going to get names. I'm going to investigate on the web, get the data, how many sales have they got, get whatever information I can. Then I'm going to hold
See
a
what kind of
personal
marketing
interview
they're
with them.
doing.
Right. And then I'm going to let them do the presentation to me. And if they hem and haw, they don't act like they know what they're talking about, their history, they're toast as far as
Got
I'm concerned.
And I don't think I would disagree with that.
And I'm also looking for, I don't look for credentials. If I was selling an industrial property, I'm probably looking for a CCIM, somebody with a designation that indicates that they've actually spent the time and the money and the effort to get that particular designation.
That helps, or you're
That
not-
helps. No, that's a
yeah,
good thing.
that
Yeah,
helps.
CCIM is Certified Commercial and Industrial
No.
something.
Investment manager.
Investment manager. Is a good designation. Okay. Yeah.
I did.
And then
Okay, so
and the difference too is if I'm listing my property or if I'm buying, I'm looking for 2 different qualities in the person, and some people can have that.
and should I
do
pick
both
someone based
effectively.
on the commission they charge? The lower the commission, the better.
No.
No, you usually get what you pay for.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
Does that help?
I hope it helps the listener. Okay. The next question I had to do with Homestead. Everybody's getting their assessment notices right now. We got ours.
Whoopee.
Yeah, tell me about it. A lot of ours in the city went down a lot.
I attribute
dramatically.
that to the city government.
Our city assessor is very good at what he does.
No, but I attribute
Well,
the fact that property values are declining to our city government.
Oh yeah, that's
Well,
right.
they are, aren't they?
Yeah.
Because of the city government.
No,
Well,
it was
not
a-
because of the city government,
that was
Because
a
of
joke.
the economy.
because of the sequester.
Oh yeah, that's just a huge impact on the city of Jackson. I think it's.
We're
really-
losing our airport
We're losing
tower.
the tower. And I'm a pilot. Think
and how
about
does
what's
that
happening.
going to affect you?
It won't affect me at all.
But it's not good.
Do you know that our
I have to tell you, look, I'm a pilot, but I also believe in responsible government spending. And I love the guys at the tower too, at the airport, and they're very, very good. And I really don't want them to lose their job. And it does help me as a pilot having the tower there and the controllers. There's quite a bit of traffic. I'm trying to remember what the numbers were.
we have
landings
more
and takeoffs.
landings at the Jackson City Airport or Reynolds Field or whatever it's called nowadays.
Mauer International
Mauer
Airport.
International. We have more landings than Lansing's Airport.
Yeah, I was surprised.
And they have
at
commercial.
the activity.
Well,
Yeah.
part of that was attributable to the Jackson Community College flight school is
Right.
there, but there are a lot. I mean, I fly in and out of here, and I flew over to Waukegan on Friday, came back in, and there's traffic here, so you fit into the pattern.
we have
and it's
more-
really nice to have the controllers. I don't want those guys to lose their jobs.
How many-
but on the
how
other
many
hand, it is
people are there?
expensive operating a tower. I understand what's going on, so let's hope that the sequester gets solved and we can keep them. I fly into Ann Arbor often as well, and Ann Arbor has pretty heavy traffic.
Well, it's expensive, but if you avoid,
Yeah, you
one
avoid one crash,
disaster,
right, and
then it's worth it.
Yeah, and like I said, I've been a pilot for 35 years now, and I fly into a lot of uncontrolled airfields as well as ones with towers, and you have to be careful. You have to rely on the other pilots to call in, to know what they're doing, to be able to call in, to know what they're doing, to be able to get into the pattern. The more traffic that you have in an airport, the more dangerous it becomes.
So it'll be interesting on MIS weekends.
My
with the big
bet
boys
is
coming
that
in.
FAA will solve the problem and that we won't lose the tower here.
That's not what we're hearing, though.
All right, yeah, no, April 8th, I think, was the tentative
Well,
date. they were talking
September.
about. Well, it's now September.
Yeah.
It's got pushed back until
Yeah.
then. All right.
Yeah.
Well, you know more than I do.
But a lot of the towers will close in April. The designated, there's about 6 or 7 in Michigan.
Yeah, and for
Battle Creek.
for MIS, what they do is they bring in temporary towers, and they
Oh,
actually.
do they?
Yeah, and some fields actually bring in a makeshift tower. It's a structure. Here they have the tower available. What
Right.
they would do is just reopen it and use it for.
For the busy weekend.
MIS week. I mean, I'd hate to think about these
So
jets
let's
coming
get
in
back
without
to
a tower.
assessments.
Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, this isn't a aircraft show? No. Oh,
I just thought I'd get us back on topic here. So we got our assessments. I noticed that of the ones that increased in Jackson County, they were like, I think 1.2%, something like that. I didn't look right before I came. But the one in Washington County went up 2.4%.
Yeah, the factor's based upon the rate of inflation. I'm trying to think if it's.
So isn't rate of inflation just across the board, or is it independent on areas?
No, it's Bureau of Labor Statistics, I think, is what is used for different regions, the Detroit region and whatever the other region is. So
Oh.
I don't think it's a statewide factor. I think it's a regional factor based upon Bureau of Labor Statistics. I got to look it up. I've got my computer.
You
if it's
do?
that important to you. But it is what it is. What was the rate this year?
I think it was 1.2. I could be wrong. I could be. Maybe it was
Well, it's fairly low.
1.02 or
It's not
something.
very high, I'm sure.
Right, but Washington County was more than double what
Well,
ours were in Jackson County.
Well,
So that kind of surprised me. And the rule of thumb on assessments is your taxable value cannot increase more than the rate of inflation or 5%, whichever is lower. So, if
yeah, but
anyone's
it goes the rate of inflation, but not to exceed 5% is how the taxable value goes up.
I thought it was whichever one was lower. So let's say the rate of inflation
Yeah,
is 6%.
that's another way of saying it. You're correct.
Okay.
It's just a little easier to say it's the rate of
I
inflation,
thought the way I
but
said
not
it
to
was pretty
exceed
easy.
5%.
So what's your point?
Just that's what people should look for, because
Oh, okay.
sometimes there may be a typographical error. We had that, I think, last year where an assessment went up more than the rate of inflation. So I just needed, instead of appealing it, all I needed to do was make a phone call to the assessor, and he corrected it. So sometimes you don't have to go through the long steps.
They're not long steps, and for those people who are upset with the assessment that they got this year, and understand that for years your taxable value would always be lower than your assessed value. Well, with the meltdown in 2007, what happened was assessed values actually started going below taxable value, and so we started seeing appeals of those assessments to the extent that they did not reflect that drop. And also upon sales of property now you see appeals. So you have to remember that if you do want to appeal your tax assessment, that you've got deadlines to file the appeal with the Michigan Tax Tribunal. If it's residential, you go under the small claims or residential division.
And do you know what type of documentation I'm going to need in order to appeal my assessment?
Best documentation is an appraisal from a qualified appraiser. If it's residential property, it's an appraisal from a residential appraiser. I see so many appeals, and we do tax appeals, but I see a lot of people try to do it themselves. They come in and they have, this is what my neighbor's property is, and this other neighbor, and I've talked to a realtor and that sort of thing. What they need is a full-blown appraiser from a residential appraisal.
So one of the other issues with assessments is, as our population's getting older, people are going into nursing homes. And there's the new law, wasn't there a new law added last year where if I go into a nursing home, I can keep my 100% homestead on my property for a period of time in case I come back from the nursing
Isn't
home?
that a year?
Well, if I have my property on the market and I buy another piece of property in the state of Michigan, I can have 2 homesteads, 200% homesteads for a period of 3 years.
Yeah, but that's a conditional rescission. So
Yeah,
that's a different issue.
But there was a statute added for,
But I don't know what the period of time is. Greg may know better than I. If it's 1 year, if you don't reside in it as a senior
Maybe you could
citizen, you're in
Google it.
assisted living.
yeah. So one of the,
I am a senior citizen,
But he's not.
So
So am I.
but I don't know.
But
I
he
am a
doesn't-
senior
I was
citizen.
guessing,
he doesn't live in a nursing home probably.
not yet, but
There you
this
go.
afternoon, you never know.
But one of the questions was the listener had, he and his father bought a house together, and both names were on the quitclaim deed. However, after Dad moved into an apartment, they leased it, so he didn't qualify for homestead. But
You can qualify as a co-owner. In other words, if you own the property with your children and you occupy it, you can claim the homestead exemption. You're paying the taxes, you claim the homestead exemption. You're the person that files the affidavit. Whoever is the co-owner who occupies the property is the person who signs the affidavit claiming the exemption. But one of those co-owners must actually live in that property, and it must be that individual's principal residence. They must have no other principal residence on which they're claiming an exemption.
okay.
Boy, we're
Well,
out of time, and I wanted
that went fast.
I wanted to ask you about pay raises.
Oh, well,
Yeah,
I
well,
can always come
pay-
into a special
All right,
one with
Pay
you.
raises for whom?
Our city fathers.
The council that was on the agenda, but we sent it back to the people.
To
You know
committee.
what? We are not in the business. We did not get elected to get money. I mean,
Right.
great. Could I use the money? Yeah, sure. But it's not. That's not why I'm doing city council. I'm doing
No.
it to improve our community. So whether I get a raise or not is absolutely irrelevant.
We all know that.
They should have somebody other than council voting on it, though I don't feel comfortable on it. Real quick, just some affordable houses.
Real
202 Southwest Avenue, 44-9, 1713 Francis, and 1511 Francis. Both those are 24-9. Very affordable. Land contract terms available. 780-3800.
ThinkingRealestate.com. Check it out on the internet, Laura's Glasses.